Hi,
Good afternoon.
how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay. Alan's having trouble getting on again.
Oh dear.
Alan,
What?
Susan's on.
All right, let me try it again.
He's going, are we going to be the only two?
I think so. Melanie texted me to say she couldn't be here,
Okay.
and I don't know about Lonnie, so it's possible. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
How come
Anything-
you're doing this at home and not at the gym? Do you only do it at the gym if people are coming
Because-
there?
Correct. Right. Most people were online,
Okay.
so yeah. So that's where we are.
Did you
Is
get?
there anything special that you'd like to do today?
No,
Try
not
again.
really. Jenna,
How are your shoulders?
my shoulders are the same as they always are,
To press.
as are my hips.
Okay. How about Alan?
He's still having trouble.
It says when the system dialog prompts, click open.
That's not what I think you have to get rid of it completely.
Okay.
Scroll, push it up. Is this all going to be on YouTube?
Yes. Yeah, we can edit it. We can see
Become the stars, Alan and I.
if
Trying to figure it
All
out.
right, here it is. I press this, it says,
Yes.
okay. Same thing.
Oh, how frustrating.
You don't have anything over there indicating that I'm trying to get in, do you?
No, I do not. The waiting room has been disabled, I think. So we don't have any of that. Let me see. It does say 3 participants. Oh, Lonnie is here. Lonnie, are you here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, we're waiting for Alan to try to get with us.
I've been there, it's fine.
I'm so sorry. Lonnie, I appreciated that you told me that the lunges were still hard,
Here it is, Alan.
because the lunges are still hard, no matter what.
I know.
Oh, they just really are, but they're so good for us because it's so functional. So we're going to try a little bit of them today, but we'll start on your backs if you want to go ahead and get there. And we're just going to do a bit of stretching in our joints. So I'm going to join you.
I'm in?
I don't know if you have audio though, but we'll find
Yeah,
out.
I hear him. Hi, Alan.
Hi.
So you're going to lie down and just like feel very heavy with your head and your shoulders and your chest and your hips on the mat. You may want to straighten the legs. That's up to you. Sometimes when you straighten the legs, you feel more of a stretch, but also what happens is you end up arching your back. So decide what's best for you. Either way, you're just going to try to find that you're making space in between each vertebra. You could even stretch your arms here. So there's a nice stretch that happens. And then once you stretch, it might even be a yawn. It made a yawn for me. And then bring your knees bent, feet flat, and take your arms down by your side again. And they don't have to be close to your side. They can be out by shoulder height. And you're just going to start to move your hips. So it's as though you're going to move into a shoulder bridge, but you're just it's just going to be an arch and a curl of your lower spine. So your tailbone is going to curl, and then your tailbone is going to go back to neutral, and then you'll arch again. So this is just really getting a little bit of movement in the lower spine. And then acknowledging that you do have some abdominal muscles that are working here. Try not to harden your abdominals, but let them be able to be engaged without gripping, if you can. And then find what's neutral for your hips and stay there for a moment. And then we're going to take our legs a little bit away because that's a little bit harder. Drop your ribs down in case they pop up. So these are some upper abs that you're still using here, even though you're not in an upper ab curl. And then take your hands on the belly, all the way from the ribs to your pubic bone. And then with an exhale, bring one leg into tabletop. Put that leg down on an inhale, other leg comes in on your exhale. So try not to move the hips. This is just some core stability that we're doing right in the beginning. And you are supposed to try to relax your head, neck, and shoulders while you do this. Remember, most of the work is right where your hands are. So you shouldn't be tensing up in the jaw or the shoulders just to do this. So everything else is relaxed. You're doing Shavasana everywhere else. Now bring one leg up to stay in tabletop. And then bring the other leg up to stay. Now this is much harder. I feel like this is a lot of work just to be here, but you're still going to drop the ribs down. You're still going to feel like you're breathing. And now from here, you're just going to straighten one leg up. So you can't see my foot, but it's straight. And then you're just going to switch. So you're bringing one leg down. The heel almost touches your butt if you can. The other heel touches the ceiling. And you just keep going. And each time you switch your legs, there's some core work involved. Remember to relax your head, neck, and shoulders. Is everybody getting a little bit of work in the abs here? I hope. Now bring your legs down. Stretch the legs out. Stretch the arms out. And then make a wide V with your arms and your legs. And now, this is, well, we're just going to do this to warm everything up, to really get you awake. So you're going to bring your head, neck, and shoulders up, and your right hand is going to come and meet somewhere on your left leg. And then you go back down. And you switch that out. Exhaling up, inhaling down, exhaling up, nice and slow. Inhale down, exhale. Inhale 2 more times, really waking you up, breathing. You get to come down after each one, so there shouldn't be any tension, and then just stay here. You're still in your X. We're gonna take a side bend here, so you're gonna take your right arm over to your left, and then your right, well, whatever. I took my left arm over to my right, and my left leg over to my right. So I'm in a crescent shape. Remember this crescent shape because we'll be doing it standing, right? Nice little crescent. And then take the leg and the arm back to the V position that they're in, and then switch that. Right arm goes to left, right leg goes to left, and you're in this nice stretch, a real good side bend. You're going to drop the ribs down anywhere that they're popping up. Feeling the stretch. And then come back to the center. And then hug the knees in. And just let your lower back relax. Let your front of your hips crease. And anything that works better for you here, like you could circle the legs in opposite directions. You could circle the legs in the same direction. And then we'll take a figure 4 here. Drop your left foot down. Take your right ankle over your left thigh. And then drop the belly down to hinge in at your hips to bring yourself into this figure 4. You'll feel a stretch in your right hip. I also feel a stretch in the front of my right hip and my inner thigh. I'm just getting a stretch all over the place. You're going to straighten your left leg up toward the ceiling, and you're going to point and flex. So you guys, I taught a class outside today, and I kept saying looking up at the ceiling, but it was the sky. So it's really cool. From here, you're going to uncross your legs and find whatever works for you. If you can find a happy baby, you do that. If you want to just take the legs apart and get a stretch in your inner thighs, you do that. Yep, and I see some of you just rocking to one side and the other. So whatever feels good before we go to our figure 4 on the other side. So now you're dropping your left ankle over the right thigh. Lengthen. Try not to tuck your tailbone or even come into an upper ab curl. It's really you're lying down and you're finding that figure 4, which is stretching the left hip, maybe pressing the left knee away a little bit. You want to take this further, you straighten your right leg and you point and flex, you circle the ankle, you get a nice stretch through your hamstrings. Now both legs are going to stretch up. So if you happen to have a block, it's great to put the block right underneath your hips. I happen to have a block, so I'm going to put my block underneath my hips, but you could use a pillow. You could use anything here, and it's a nice inversion. And here, you might want to feel the length of the back of the legs. Your tailbone is not curled, so it's neutral. And then here, we're just going to do a little bit more of the core work. So you're going to bring your right knee in, and the left leg is going to go down toward the floor, or a little bit more work would be to hover it over the floor, and then you'll switch your legs. You're welcome to take that straight leg down to the floor. Right, to hover it is a little bit more work, but remember you're not gripping anything, you're not clenching anything. It's just a movement, one stretched, one pulled in. Keep switching. You're trying to open up the front of the hip here and crease at your hip. Your hips are doing completely different things. One is extending, one is flexing. All right, let's go ahead and take our feet down. If you have a block, remove it. Your hip should feel pretty good. And we're just going to do a full bridge here. So you're going to roll through the spine up and down. Create some space. Remember not to get into your neck because your neck still is going to maintain its natural curve. When you go down, you try to find your natural curves and then go up one more time. Stretch everything out. The knees go out over your toes. Your head reaches in the opposite direction. Your collarbones wide. And then taking your spine down. Just easing it down. Each rib goes down separately. Ideally, belly goes down. Good, I'm going to ask you to roll off to the side and then come to a seated position. So if you like that part of class, that's great. And then there's more. So we're going to try to sit tall. I can tell you to sit on something, maybe to lengthen your spine here. If you are okay, you're sitting on both sit bones. We're going to take the legs and put them like this. So there's a little diamond shape here. We're just going to try to open our hips before we stand up. So you're just going to fold one leg onto the other one. It's like opening the book and then closing it. You're welcome to have your hands down the way we are all having our hands down. I just want to tell you that, yeah, sorry, Susan, you don't need anything underneath your seat right now. If you don't use your hands, it's a whole other ball game, right? Got to use your core muscles. You're twisting from the hips and the ribs to do this if you're not using your arms. I'm not telling you not to, I'm just telling you that it's different. Now, the next time you go over to your right, we're going to take this left leg out. And you're just going to get a stretch here. So a couple things you can do. You can move the leg. See, I'm moving my leg, actually. I'm not moving my hips. I'm moving my leg in and out a little bit. Now, I'm keeping my leg there, and I'm moving my hips. So 2 different ways to do this. You're articulating through your hip joint. So you can also twist to your right. Be very careful. You can also try to twist to your left. Be really careful. You can also curl over your right knee. Pulling the ribs back, pulling the belly back, letting the head go down. And we're going to do that all onto the other side. So come up carefully, bring that left leg to stack on the right, switch it out, and then take this leg out. Now you might want to just stay here because, you know, this is some tightness. This is, I understand, Susan, right? I feel your pain. So if you keep the hips where they are and you just move the leg, inner spiral, outer spiral, inner and outer. So that's one way you can move. Or you can keep the leg where it is and move the pelvis. So there's several ways of articulating your hip. And then if you want to, you're twisting to your left. Stay nice and tall if you can. Yeah, so lift your chest, Susan, a little bit. And then you can twist to the other side. Just be really careful. We're not expected to do it all. We're just trying this out. Now you're going to pull the ribs back, pull the belly back, and curl over your left knee. And then come back up. Two more things. This right leg stacks on top of the left. You open again, close again. Now we're on the original side. So now you're going to take that leg out. And does it feel any different? It might not feel any different at all. But today we're going to try to do a little bit of a side bend here. So I take my hand right on this hip crease and I encourage my pelvis to go down a little. Just be careful of your knee. Maybe flex both feet just to be careful of your knees. Now, whatever amount, you're going to try to side bend over. Nice. If it feels like you could bring your arm off, you do that, but that's a bit much. And then come back. Other side. Here, 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 and here. So here we are. Now, you're encouraging that sit bone to drop down, flex both heels just to protect your knee, and just any amount of a side bend over to your right. This is a little easier for me, not much. And then come back. All right, that's all over, all done. Let's come over onto our hands and knees. Do you want something underneath your knees? So you're gonna cat-cow here in the way that works for you. I do like to come forward in between each of my positions so that I can find a hip opening. This is my hip opening. And then I crease into one of my cats or cows. Keep breathing, keep moving. Keep moving your spine into its shape. Maybe on your arch, you want to curl the toes so you get some foot articulation. And then maybe on your curl, you want to drop the top of the feet down. So you decide what works for you. And at some point in your curl, I would love it if you would almost be able to lift the hands off. So most of the work is right in your core. So trying that a little bit, and then we're going to stay still. So when you're ready, you're staying still on hands and knees. So we're going to try, this exercise is actually called, it's a PT bird dog here. So what's going to happen is your right leg is going to go back, the foot is still on the floor. Pull into the belly and take your left arm forward and have your fingers on the floor. So you should have a connection to the floor with every limb, right, in some way. And then you're looking ahead of you and your right leg goes up, left arm goes up. Left thumb is up, right toes are down. And you just feel what you feel. Try not to panic. Nice balance, breathing easily, shoulders easy. Keep the belly in. Maybe even take a moment to feel the belly. Feel your back with that left hand. It's free, and just feel if you're sagging anywhere. Then take your limbs down. And before we go to the other side, just take your hips in one direction and the other. Breathe. In case you weren't breathing during that. Just notice if it's restricted, you're trying to go in each direction. You feel the stretches. And then we'll go to the other side. So you come back to the middle. You're going to take your left leg long and it stretches, but the toes are on the floor. And then your right leg, right arm long, but the fingers are on the mat. Now get into your core. Feel all the limbs that are touching. And then you'll go ahead and lift right arm, left leg. Right thumb faces up, left toes face down. I like to take this right hand, monitor my belly, in case it's not where it should be, and monitor my back so I'm not swayed in my back. I don't have an overly rounded upper spine either. And then I enjoy this balance that I've created by breathing. No neck tension, no jaw tension. And putting those limbs down. And again, cat-cow, or maybe you just sit back into child's pose. If you're in child's pose, let's just let yourself feel your own breath. Now we're going to add a twist to this all fours, and then we're going to come into our down dog. So on all fours, rather than twisting and lifting this right arm, I'm just going to ask you to keep your arm there, but twist your torso, like turning your head and turning your ribs a little bit. And then you're going to pick up this right hand, palm is going to face up, and it's going to thread underneath the left. And then you can go all the way down to your comfort level of maybe the right cheek. So you're going to get a shoulder stretch. And you're going to try to breathe. Keep your hips level if you can. And if you can, you're keeping your hips over your knees. Your hips are a little forward. You're feeling the twist in your torso. Take your left hand so that it can support you. Your left hand or your forearm is underneath your shoulder so that you can unthread. And now we're going to go all the way to the right. So now you're going to take your arm up. You're opening in the opposite direction. And then bring that down. Before we go to the other side, just slide all the way down onto the belly. Take your hands underneath your forehead. Roll around on your hips a little bit. So we'll just do a little bit of a back bend here. You're going to take your hands underneath your shoulders. You're going to shrug your shoulders. You're going to prepare by using the belly and the back muscles. And then you're going to take your spine forward and up to your degree. So it could stay just at the bottom of your ribs, or you can come up higher. Make sure you're using your arms, not your shoulders. You make sure you're using your back muscles. Just as many as you want to, up and down you go, or you just stay. Turn your head to one side and the other. So you just explore this. When you're finished, you're going to come back into child's pose. Take your time. Child's pose is great, so make sure you get what you need out of it. Coming back to all fours. So we're twisting to the other side, but we're not moving our arm to do it. You're actually turning your head to one side, turn your ribs to the other side. So it's almost like, pardon me while I use this analogy, but here are the coals down here. The fire pit is right here, and you're trying to get the side of your ribs down to the coals. So you've turned, you've twisted. Now, come back to the center, take weight off that left hand, palm faces up, and you're going to thread it underneath the right, and you're going to twist your body in the opposite direction. So you stay here, or you move around, wiggle around a little bit. Just try to find some space. So wherever you feel a little cramped, you're just going to try to find some space. That might mean that the arms have to move a little bit. But keep the belly in and keep breathing. You're getting a little bit of a shoulder stretch. You're going to slide that right hand underneath the right shoulder, or even you can go on your forearm. You're going to untwist, not from your shoulder, but from your torso. Take that right hand right underneath your shoulder, and now twist open to your left with the arm following. And then come back. and find down dog. Actually, before you find down dog, just come back into this squat. I find this interesting. I love it when somebody says, that's interesting. So whatever that means, it's interesting, right? Could be good, bad, whatever. Now from here, you're gonna find your down dog. So you're in your down dog and you're just pedaling it out. You're feeling your calf stretch. You're feeling your hamstring stretch. You're feeling the sit bones way up in the air. You're dropping the head down between your arms. You're shaking your head yes and no because there's no tension there. And then we're going to walk our feet. Just take a slow walk to the top of your mat. So you're just walking your feet to your hands. You're going to hang down in your forward fold. If you have blocks, it's a great time to use them, right? They can be underneath your hands. You're just elevating the ground to you. You can bend your knees here, but the whole idea is to fold at your hip crease. Draw the belly in. And then from here, take your hands on your thighs and find an L shape with your spine. So the back is flat, you're looking down to the floor. The legs can be a little bent. The belly's in, the sit bones are reaching away from your tailbone. I'm sorry, away from the crown of your head. And then you're gonna forward fold again. So let that go. Now stand in your feet, stack your spine all the way up. Shrugging the shoulders, lift your arms up. All the way up, give it a stretch here. And then take your hands to heart center. And I'm gonna change my camera so that you're standing and you can see me and I can see you if you choose to have me see you. And then your arms, your hands can go down by your side. So this is called mountain pose. It's a really strong pose, nicely oriented into your feet. And then feeling like I want your fingers to spread and I want the palms to be in kind of a receiving mode. The arms don't need to be really close to your body. They can be away a little bit. So just close your eyes and soften your knees in case you've locked them. Spread your toes and kind of feel the surface of the floor, surface of your mat. You can squish your toes a little bit and feel what it's like. So if you were a kid or maybe an adult in the mud, remember how that felt in your feet? And you're like, oh, that feels so good. So you want that movement in your feet. So you really want strong feet. All right, from here, we're going to take a side bend. So you're just going to bring your arms up. You can steeple your fingers and take your biceps by your ears if that's okay, and then drop your shoulders down. And then I like to spread my legs just a little bit here so that I can reach up and over to find a side bend. And then reach up and over to find a side bend on the other side. So I already know something about myself and I already know that I collapse when I go to my sides a little bit. So I'm pretending that there's a big beach ball here and I'm rounding up and over. So that's up to you. You have to decide what's working for you. And I feel the muscles contract to get me over to this side. So that's good for me. I like to feel that. And then as we often do, you're going to come to the center, drop your arms down, just shake it out a little bit. And we're going to make a circle so sometimes we make neck circles. Let's just start there. You can just make a neck circle. We know how to do this. So just easing one ear to one shoulder and then chin goes forward and backward. And you'll feel a little pop, little cracks, go in the opposite direction. Now we're going to continue that. The next time you change directions, you're going to go at the level of your rib cage. You're going to move your rib cage around. So one could call this a side bend and a back bend and a side bend and almost an upper ab curl type of feeling. And you're going to go in the opposite direction. Sometimes it helps to close your eyes, but you don't want to fall over. So maybe a soft gaze to your eyes. Keep the belly pulled in. All right, now we're going to space the top of the mat. I'm going to do a vinyasa here, which is the full Whole shebang. So you start at the top of the mat, finding just what you just found. Nice alignment, and then you're going to lift your arms up. Find a little hint of a back bend here, and then take your arms to heart, hands to heart center, and then forward fold, just like you did. Gaze somewhere between your legs. Now inhale, the hands can be on your shins or your thighs. I'm gonna put mine on my shins. I'm gonna find that long spine again, that half lift. And then you'll take your hands down and then climb your legs back into your plank. So full plank here, nice and strong. Draw the belly in, relax your shoulders. Then you're going to start to either drop your knees, chest, and chin, or you can bend the elbows so that they slide past your ribs and you go all the way down and then find your back bend. And then you're going to slide from there into all fours and into your down dog. So we're going to do that whole thing all over again, but find your down dog. And before we come to the top of the mat, I'm going to ask that you stretch your right leg long. So this is called down dog split. So you just want to feel all four limbs. It's just that this right foot is pressing into the air. And then you're going to switch your legs. So really stretch it. Relax your shoulders. Now this time, as that leg goes down, the other leg goes up. Bend your knee, look toward the top of your mat and see if you can place that foot in between your hands. We're not staying, right? We're not staying. We're just pressing into that right foot to bring the left foot next to it. Forward fold. Good. Stand on your feet, stack your spine all the way up. So second time around, arms go up, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Same that we did. Inhale into your long spine or half lift, shoulder blades on your back, belly pulls in, ribs pull in. Then place your hands down, find that plank again. A full plank. Your choice, knees, chest, chin, or low plank into your back bend of your choice. Pull, keep the belly pulled in. Get a stretch in your abdominals. And then slide back into all fours, curl your toes, and come into your down dog. So from here, we're going to do that down dog split again. So you're going to lift the left leg long. So just really gaze at a point behind you and really feel everything here. So pressing into both feet. Put that leg down, switch your legs. Down dog split. This is a balance, so you want to feel nice and strong. Equal weight on both hands. Put that leg down, switch to the left leg up again. Now we're bringing that leg between your hands. So you're going to take that knee in towards your chest and place that foot between your hands. Now we're going to stay here. This is a great place for blocks on either side of that left foot. And you're just going to toss backward and forward here. Right, so getting some nice stretches. Moving the spine as well. It's curled when the legs are straight, and then maybe it's arched when the knees are bent. And you're finding a lunge, Lonnie. This is a semi-lunge, right? Keep going. Now, you're going to take that left foot to bring it back to your right foot and find your down dog again. Doing that same thing on the other leg, you're going to reach your right leg long. Now, it helps me to come into a plank first. That right knee comes in up to my chest, and I puff up my chest a little to make room for that foot to come in. Then you can rock backward and forward again. The hands can be on blocks. And you're just opening things up. So these are great hip openers. Great time to kind of get your bearings, get the shoulders to relax down. Feel if your jaw is clenching. And then we'll drop our left knee down. So this is a lunge with the hands down. You can drop the back foot down and then come up onto the front thigh. So it's a little shaky here for me too, and I've done this for years and it's still shaky. And if I turn my head to look at you, it would be very shaky. So I'm just gonna stay forward. I'm gonna see what happens if I bring my arms up. Is that shaky-er, or does it help me with my balance? I'm not sure. And then I'm gonna take my hands back behind my neck. And I'm going to lengthen my neck, lengthen my whole torso, but I'm gonna bend backward, lifting my chest to the ceiling. So that gives me a balance challenge. And then I'm gonna take myself back to upright. I'm gonna take my left hand inside of my right foot, maybe on a block, and I'm gonna twist to my right. Remember, it's not twisting with the arm, it's twisting with your torso. To prove that to yourself, you could take that right elbow to bend it and see if you can look for the front of the left hip with your hand. Pull the belly in, pull the shoulder back, big twist. And then take your hands to frame the right foot again. This time, you're going to bring yourself into a half split. So you could bring the blocks near your hips and you could straighten the front leg. So hopefully my left hip is over my left knee. And I'm just trying to, you can go way back here and do this if you want to, but I just want you to be here. So can you put the foot down and then put it up? So you're getting a hamstring stretch. Bend that knee. Now, this is interesting. I'm going to ask you to find pigeon here. So that means that this right shin would be parallel to the top of your mat, and then you would go all the way down with your hips. This left foot is in line with your left hip, and you can stay up on blocks or hands or elbows, but you're here for a moment. And I wish you were all in person because I'd like to know how you're feeling. A lot of work, but we already did our figure 4. We're pretty warmed up. We opened up our hips, we opened up the back, we lifted the belly. And if you'd like to rest in your pigeon, please do so. So you can still use your blocks to maybe rest your head on. I'm going to come out of mine, but please stay in and breathe. And just feel what you feel. It doesn't mean you have to be completely still. You can move around a little bit. But we usually do pigeon toward the end, and we're like 40 minutes in doing pigeon, and that should be okay. Now I'm going to ask you to bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then drop off to your left hip so that you can swing this left leg. Did I say left hip? Drop off on your right hip. Sorry. To bring your left leg forward. So I'm going to face you this way, but this is where you are. So that's a lot to do on the other side, so I'll have to remember it. But you're here, right here. So again, you're sitting tall on the sit bones. You can put a block underneath this knee if it doesn't go all the way down, right? And I know I'm not mirroring you, but you have your left leg extended in front. So you're going to try to find a little back bend here. It's really the back bend is with your chest, but if you want to help yourself with the arms, it's up here like this. And then turn just slightly to your left so that you can hinge forward. Another place for blocks is right on either side. You know, I need about 10 blocks to do this. So you're just try not to round your lower back. It's a hinge forward. It's not about getting your chin to your shin. It's about really getting your chest to your thigh. And then go ahead and come back up from there. We'll take a twist here. So your left leg goes right in line with your left hip and your right leg crosses over. So not easy, but you're trying to get that right foot flat down onto the floor. And then you take a twist to your right. So you can take this left elbow on the other side of your knee, but it's really about, remember, it comes from the twist in your torso and a tall spine if you can. Relaxed shoulders. Keep stamping down into that right foot. Come out of that. And then before you leave it, just add a little bit of a curl to the inside of this right leg. Just releasing. All right, we have to go all the way to the other side. So you're going to swing yourself around somehow to be in your down dog again. And you're going to help me out because you're going to remember everything we did. So here it is. We're in our down dog again. Our left leg is going to lift. You're going to bend the knee, look toward the top of the mat, and your shoulders are going to come over your wrists, and your upper body is going to puff up like a curl to make some space for your foot to come between your hands. And then you're going to drop your back knee down and rise up onto your front thigh. So here's our lunge. You can drop the top of the back foot down, and then you're just really kind of feeling how this can be very imbalanced, right? But the hips are right in the middle, your shoulders are right in the middle, your ears are right over your shoulders, and then you prove it to yourself by lifting your arms up. And then we're going to do a back bend here. So you can take your hands back behind your neck to elongate it first, to lengthen up, and then bend over something that's at your, underneath your shoulder blade. So lifting your chest. You should feel the belly being stretched. The right hip comes forward, the left hip comes back. It wants to do the opposite. And then coming out of there, you're going to take your right hand down. Remember, the right hand can be on a block inside of your left foot, and you're twisting from the torso to your left. So lift the tail and the head away from one another. One arm down, one arm up. And then from here, we're coming into pigeon. No, we're not. We're coming into our half split. So moving your hips back, bringing your leg forward perhaps. A flexed heel will give you that stretch of the hamstring, but you could also drop the foot down and up. Just getting a little articulation there. And just feeling this stretch in the back of the leg, reaching through the heel. We didn't do this on the other side, but if you want to try a balance, you would take both hands on this left shin. I find that really hard, but that could just be me. Or left leg somewhere. Oh, all right then. Now we're going to pigeon. This left leg is going to cross over. So a pigeon like this is not good for you. You're lying down on your back and taking a figure four the way we did already. So I like to look back to make sure that my right foot is in line with my right hip. I'm trying to get both of my hips down to the floor evenly, but it's not happening for me. So I do the best I can. And I like to have blocks underneath my forearms. And I just do the best I can here. I like to rock side to side to encourage that right hip to go down toward the mat. I could do this every day and still have room to grow. And when you feel that it's okay, you can go all the way down and rest. Resting does tend to get your hips closer to the floor. Or maybe it's because you've been gradually getting there and getting there. Let your head relax. I'm going to come out of it, but you still stay. All of these positions are so similar. They're just a little different. So as you start to come out of this, the hands come underneath your shoulders. You're going to drop down onto your left hip, but I want you to see where you are. So where I am is very similar to where we were. Do you remember this? We went like this and this and da, da. So it's very similar. You just turned it, so now you're sitting on your hip. All right, so now you're facing forward, or face me, or however you want to. I'll face you. You're on your sit bones evenly. That left foot is tucked into your right inner thigh, and the right leg is out to the right a little bit. So I like to take my hands right on the floor and then just kind of lift and hang my hips down so I get that nice long spine. And then from here, taking a back bend, a little bit of a lift to your chest, turning a little to your right, and then hinging forward. Hinging forward, getting that tailbone to lengthen, try to get your lowest rib down to your thigh. Maybe flex this right foot. And then just stay and breathe. It's not about how low, it's about how much of a flexion you can get at your hip with a flat, low back. Not tucked, not arched. And then you're going to use your hands to hinge back up. Here's our twist to one side. So you're going to take your right leg right in line with your hip and cross the left leg over. So again, trying to press down, stamp down through that left foot so that you can use the torso to twist and use your arms for leverage to twist to your left. And then see if you can find that flat back again. And the chest lifts. Nice, Susan. Yeah, and you're supposed to be able to breathe. So pulling the belly in to get that nice corkscrewed spine, right? That's nice and straight, but it's twisted. Take one more breath and then untwist slowly. And then find a little bit of a forward fold in between. So you're to the right side of that left leg. All right, so now we're going to stand and face one another. So standing, having your toes face front in a wide straddle. So pretty wide. I know you can't see there's no way you can see everything here. So as best you can, the toes all face front, and you're still in really good alignment. You're going to take your hands, place them in this hip crease so that you can fold, forward fold. And you're hinging at your hips. Go down as far as it will feel okay. You can also slightly bend your knees. You can take your hands down to the mat, let your head hang. This really feels good usually for people. If you want to walk your hands out in front of you, this is a wide-legged down dog, and then I want you to toss your hips from side to side. That gives you a little bit of stretching in your hip area, in your pelvis, in your lower spine. Let your head dangle. And then walk your hands underneath your feet again. Or maybe have your hands a little bit in front. So this is your wide-legged forward fold. Let your head drop. Now you are going to bend the knees slightly and roll your spine back up. So this is a rounded spine. Once you get here, we're going into warrior two. So you're going to take your left leg and turn it, right? And that left knee bends, and you're on this balance beam where your left heel lines up with your right arch. And then torso right over the legs, and then take your arms out, one in front, one in back. Relax your shoulders down, press down, really strong arms, and reach out. So a couple things here, you want to really press down through your feet. You want to lift up through the crown of your head, and you want your collarbone nice and wide. So pull the belly in, tuck this right hip under a little bit, left hip, sorry. Now flip your left palm and do your side bend. So up and over, we already did our side bend, so don't collapse. That's it. Now come back to your warrior two, and then place this left forearm on the left thigh and place your right bicep by your right ear. Now, if you wanted to add a twist here, it's twisting the rib cage toward the ceiling. Now let's come back to our warrior two. And let's straighten the left leg. We're doing it all in a row here. And then what I want you to do is hip hinge. So hip hinge. This is creasing over here. This is opening. This is creasing. This is opening. You'll feel what you feel. And now you're going to go into triangle. So this hip has to tuck underneath the other hip. The side body nice and long. One arm up, one arm down. Try not to side bend here. So you really have to do that hip hinge. And then you're feeling, I always feel like I try not to side bend here. So now go ahead and bend into the left knee. Frame your left foot. Turn your right leg so you're in your crescent shape again. So the right heel is up. And remember, we did this back and forth. We tried to get some stretches here. So now we're finding our warrior crescent, our crescent warrior. So in this position where the legs are on railroad tracks, this is one of the hardest ones for me to balance. So I'm here. It's even harder when I lift my arms up. But some people say lifting their arms up gives them balance. Square off your hips so the right hip comes forward, left hip comes back. It's even more of a challenge to find a little back bend here. Remember, whoa, it's not just your neck that's bending, it's your upper spine bending backward. And then take your hands down to frame that left foot. For a moment, we're going to find a balance here. So this is warrior three. You could put your hands underneath or on top of your blocks and then lift that right foot off and find just a balance here, warrior three. If you feel comfortable taking the hands off, you could put one to heart center. Maybe they both join. You're in a plank, basically, standing on one leg. Then take both hands down, framing that, don't frame it, take your hands in front of that left leg. Put your right leg back down, and then come into your down dog. And if you choose to do a vinyasa, that is your choice. You could curl into your high plank. You could do knees, chest, chin, or bend your elbows into your low plank. You could come into your back bend, which is really nice. And then find yourself in child's pose. Find that squat again. Remember that little squat that we did? From all fours, we squatted, we curled the toes, and you sat back here, not easy. And then from here, you're gonna straighten your legs, forward fold, and then roll through the spine so we can do the second side. All right, so second side has us facing forward. Our legs are pretty wide because we want to get into warrior two pose from here. So that's as wide as, I heard somewhere, and I guess it depends on your proportions, but if your arms are out spread wide, the distance of your legs is supposed to be as wide as the distance between your fingers. And if I were to do that, that would be way down here like this. But I can't do that, so I'm just telling you. All right, now you're going to turn this into your warrior two. So the right foot turns and the knee bends. And you make sure you have a little space underneath your left arch to find the inner thigh. Now, as you take your arms out in front and you look over your right middle finger, make sure that your torso is not leaning forward or backward. You're right in the center. And then we're going to flip the right palm to travel the left hand down and to find your side bend. Remember, you're not collapsing in your left side. You're just merely side bending. From here, finding your warrior two into your side angle.
So really important that you're not pushing your hand down. This is just a connection to get into the core muscles. If you want to find, I think we did this before, you can bend this left elbow to come around and see if your fingers can find the front of the right hip to twist the ribs toward the ceiling. Watch your neck, it can feel awful. Pull the belly in and up. Now, come back to your warrior two and straighten the right leg. And this is where we went like this. Found our hip crease. You're tucking one hip under the other with straight legs. Not easy to do. This is creasing, this is stretching. Look at your torso, it's nice and long. Now we're going to go into triangle. So this right hip comes back underneath the left, one arm down, one arm up. Stretch arms away from one another. Stretch the crown of your head, out of your shoulders. And now let's come back up to warrior two. So we're almost finished this. You're just going to cartwheel that left hand. You're going to frame your right foot. Bring your left foot into a crescent lunge. So the left heel is lifted. You're up high onto the ball of the left foot. Your legs are on railroad tracks. You can press backward and forward a little bit to get this stretch, to make yourself feel okay. Ready for crescent lunge coming up. Aligning everything on top of your hips. Maybe moving the arms up. Maybe moving the chest up, finding a back bend. This is really hard for me. And now you're going to take your hands down in front of your right foot and lift off the left foot. The hands can be on blocks. You're trying to take that right hip back, left hip forward. You can take one hand to heart center, flexing your left toes. Make sure you're not sagging or leaning. It's a plank. Now to prove it to ourselves, we're going to find a plank. Take both hands down, take that left foot down, take your right foot to meet your left and find your plank. And then drop to your knees, sit back into child's pose. And you're going to roll back onto your back. Yay. So go ahead down onto your back. I just need to know that you're okay. Everyone's all right? All I saw was a fist. I think the thumb was up there. Okay. Now just rock your knees from side to side. If you take your feet pretty wide, it'll help you take your knees from side to side. So we're trying to feel how those warrior poses helped us. Did it stretch us? Did it make us feel strong? That's the idea. And then I'm just going to ask you to find a comfortable position that you can take a Shavasana in. So that might mean you need to take a little bit of a feeling of like really relaxing down onto the floor. You might want to take your legs long and let them hang out to the side. Externally rotate, arms do the same thing. And then as you close your eyes, you want to scan your body a little in your mind's eye. I once had a yoga instructor way in the beginning of my practices, and she would go really from head to toe. And she, after each body part, she would say, let it go. So you might want to do that to yourself. I didn't ask you for you to set an intention. But if you had an intention for this part of class, it's for letting go. Just notice. And make little movements in your toes and your fingers. Finding a deeper breath, maybe bending the knees. Just whatever movement feels good. To stretch might feel good. It's as though you're waking up. Roll over to your favorite side to stay for a moment. So you can rest your head on the pillow of your hands. Notice your thoughts and see if you can intentionally be thankful. Press lightly into your hands so that you can come up to a seated position. Sit cross-legged or any other way that you like. And take your hands to heart center. So this is meant to calm you and get in touch with yourself. So you're really pressing your thumbs into your heart. Your heart presses into your thumbs. And then just get a tall, loose spine. Take your thumbs to between your eyebrows. Nod your chin to your chest, but bring your heart up toward your chest. And namaste.
Namaste.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan.
Have a nice
We're
week.
being recorded, so I'm going to end the recording. Actually, in order to end the recording, I have to end the meeting. So I want to be sure everybody's okay before I do that.
It's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Welcome.
Tell all
next
your friends. Tell them all about the sporting club.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.